Okay, we're gonna be watching the dark web's new deadliest drug. All right, let's see what this is about.
It's part of a whole group of substances called nitazines, and this tiny amount is enough to kill. Over the past few years, these drugs have been claiming more and more lives across the EU. A perfect storm is brewing, caused by a political...
At least it's not over here yet. It's not over here yet, right?
...power shift in Afghanistan, changing smuggling routes, and the emergence of clandestine Chinese laboratories pushing new and harder synthetic drugs. Drugs that are cheaper, sometimes openly available on the clearnet, and more potent than almost anything we've seen before. Is Europe ready for what's coming?
Yo, how do they make videos so good like this? Like, I don't know.
Because this channel got bought by private equity. That's why.
Or I can't focus with like freaking so many fireworks going off outside right now.
So mute them.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'll be mute them real quick. Okay.
Can you stream on Discord so I can just like unmute your Discord and not have to listen to your actual screen and hear you?
This is Ahmed.
I might
He's
echo
a fictional
though,
character based in a variety of
hope
reporting. And this is his farm, located in the northern Helmand region of Afghanistan. Like many others across the country,
of course it's in Afghanistan. I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Build a patch of desert.
Is that racially
10 years
motivated?
ago,
It's not. It's not.
Is that racially motivated on live? That's
3
crazy.
hectares cost him
I'm
just
just saying, like, you know, it's just it feels like that's where a drug would come from, you know.
Oh, that's racially motivated.
No, it's not. It's not
There's
about
some sort
race.
of bias for
It's just
that,
about like just the name of the country.
$5,400.
Yeah, pal.
Since then, he's gradually turned this patch of arid land into a productive plot that provides for him, his wife, and their 9 children. But it wasn't easy. First, the dry earth had to be cleared and leveled. Ahmed doesn't have...
Bro, what are we watching? What are we watching about, like, flattening land? Like, what are we doing?
Just let it cook. Be quiet.
Okay, alright.
access to irrigation from a local water source like the Musakala River, so he also had to dig a 120-meter deep well. That cost him $3,600. Instead of relying on expensive diesel fuel to power his pumps, he invested another $10,000 in installing a solar array. He even dug a large pond to store the groundwater he'd use on his crops. With the average daily income of an Afghan farmer being about $5 to $10 US, you might well ask...
Wait, huh?
How exactly did Ahmed pay for all this? Well, Ahmed grows poppies. He's the first link in the supply chain that turns this flower into opium and opium into heroin.
Is that really where all these drugs came from? Is Afghanistan? There's no way, right?
Let it cook. You'll see. You'll get
I'm
more
trying
info.
to react, so I have to pause the react, alright?
Since 2003, Afghanistan has consistently produced 70% of the world's opium and up to 90% of Europe's supply.
I did
For
not know
farmers
that.
like Ahmed,
there's
it's
your answer,
essential
buddy.
for survival. Every year, he uses 2/3 of his plot to grow poppies. The rest he fills with just enough wheat to feed his family. Most years, his crop yields around 140 kilos of opium, including 20 kilos he can set aside for a rainy day. But that's all about to change. On August 15, 2021, the Taliban returned to power. 7.5 months later, they make poppy cultivation illegal. Some experts say they're distancing themselves from a trade they previously participated in hope of securing political recognition as well as financial and humanitarian aid. Others claim they're artificially raising prices in order to profit from their own stockpiles. Either way, people in Afghanistan are skeptical.
If you don't have enough food in your house and your children are going hungry, what else will you do? If we grew wheat instead, we won't earn enough to survive.
This isn't the first time the Taliban have done this. After securing control of the majority of the country in 2000, they put a similar ban in place, resulting in a 90% reduction in opium cultivation in 2001. Within a year, the price for a kilo of dried opium skyrocketed from $30 US to over $300, but the shortage didn't last. Instead, the United States invaded Afghanistan.
What?
I watched the video real quick. You know how you said you're trying to get like fiber instead of Ethernet?
Yeah.
So I watched this guy Sivdiv. He's in Ukraine, right? So you know how they're using drones a lot over there?
Yeah.
You know how you probably say like, oh, why don't they use like signal jammers? You know, since most of the drones.
Because they've been using fiber. I'm already aware of that.
Yeah,
You're
they're
after
using
that?
fiber, but guess what? Okay, just unpause it. Guess in 2023, 1 kilometer of fiber optic cable was $2.20. Guess what it is now, today?
What?
Since AI data centers and stuff need it as well, and there's a lot of use going on in Ukraine, 1 kilometer in 3 years went from $2.20 to $35.
Jesus.
Poppy cultivation.
It's like the
back.
RAM, bro.
Having lived through the Taliban's previous rise to power, Ahmed, like many farmers, anticipated the ban. The total area used for poppy cultivation grows by 32%. Farmers are allowed to harvest and sell their opium before a full ban comes into effect. As a result, the 2022 crop
Look
is
at that
the third
transition.
largest
It's
since
so
records were held.
I know. It's like melting butter in your mouth. Okay.
Opium
That's what happens
stores
when private
swell,
equity buys you.
including Ahmed's. By November, prices are as high as $475 per kilo. Farmers' income from opium sales triples. The UNODC, United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, estimates that opiate stocks in Afghanistan total up to 13,200 tons.
So, is Australia and America? I don't know.
60% is
What?
likely held by
What?
organized crime groups.
I don't.
What? So, USA and Australia. What? What are you saying?
No,
What does that
like
even mean?
not what I said.
Just unpause the video. Just
The
unpause
rest
the video.
belonging to farmers. All in all, it's probably enough to meet the demand for Afghan opiates until 2027. For Ahmed, that's plenty of time to wait for the ban to lift or loosen and for things to go back to normal.
It's gonna loosen like her mom.
Hey, I'm supposed to be saying that.
For experts in Europe, it's time to jump into action.
Hi, I'm Daniel Brombacher. I'm the director of the Europe Observatory of Organized Crime at the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime. We provide analysis to the broader public, to governments, to interested partners about what's happening on the ground in organized crime.
For Daniel and his colleagues, Afghanistan's poppy ban is deeply concerning.
Everyone in Europe was afraid of a potential influx in the traditional heroin market that is linked to Afghanistan with synthetic opioids.
In the past, heroin shortages in European countries like Estonia, Hungary, or Finland have led users to start consuming synthetic alternatives like fentanyl or cathinones. When the heroin supply drops and user demand stays consistent, organized crime groups take advantage of these supply shocks to introduce more profitable drugs.
So we thought, okay, we have to look into this issue and we need to monitor illicit markets to see, do synthetic opioids actually show up there? Have they maybe already entered supply chains for illicit drugs in Europe?
Just so you know, it is in
What are
America.
the dynamics?
Can I have some?
You can order some, not gonna lie.
But you can really just order it?
Just let it cook. I'm not gonna spoil anymore after that. You'll see what I'm talking about.
So you have watched it?
No. Different video. This is just like kind of similar.
This is boring though.
Find this market, if there is any
No, it's
market
not.
already.
While many questions remain, one thing becomes clear. This ban is different. The Afghan poppy industry doesn't bounce back like it did the first time. Ahmed's home province of Helmand, which accounted for over half of Afghanistan's poppy cultivation, is rendered virtually poppy-free. Europe's heroin supply is almost entirely cut off at the source. At this point, you might assume that Europe's drug scene would be flooded with synthetic alternatives, but the flood never comes.
So the heroin market has actually never been sustainably disrupted. Massive heroin markets like here in Germany are still readily supplied, most probably because of existing stockpiles of heroin and opium that you would have in Afghanistan and along the traditional trafficking routes.
Stockpiles of opium from farmers like Ahmed are softening the blow. Heroin purity in Europe has generally plummeted and can range from 5 to 40%. The prices and availability have remained relatively stable. So far, there's no sign of a drastic impact like the ones experts warned about, but that shouldn't create a false sense of security.
There's a lot of guessing around that, but let's say if heroin continues to be scarce and maybe the stockpiles are depleted.
Listen, okay, he's just a little kid, alright?
At some point, then yes, we may have a way stronger impact than we would think of now.
So we asked ourselves, what happens if the situation gets worse?
The video is just so well made that my CPU is just melting. That's what the problem is.
Okay.
Compared
Like our
to the
website,
US,
though.
Europe hasn't had an opioid crisis. The first wave of the American epidemic was supply-driven. It started when pharmaceutical opioids like OxyContin were aggressively marketed and overprescribed. The second wave came when these prescriptions were largely cut off, pushing former patients to start using heroin. This snowballed into the third and deadliest wave, when fentanyl entered the drug supply. Europe largely avoided this path through stricter prescription practices, stronger, more socially oriented healthcare, better treatment, and harm reduction services. For over 3 decades, fentanyl's presence in Europe has remained small and geographically limited. But now there are new challenges. It looks like Afghan heroin isn't coming back, and flexible competitors are quick to fill the gaps. Clandestine drug labs in China, India, and Russia produce an array of synthetic opioids, drugs like fentanyl and nitazines. At least 21 EU member states have already found nitazines in their drug supply. Nitazines often contaminate drugs like heroin or oxycodone, and sometimes more common drugs like cocaine, Xanax, ketamine, and ecstasy. In the UK, they've even been found in vape liquids and illegal nasal sprays.
What? That's fine.
So far,
That's fine.
relatively few deaths seem to be linked to nitazines.
Oh, really?
Just a few hundred in most countries.
Just wait.
But these numbers might not be entirely accurate.
In Germany, last year and this year, we have had the historically highest numbers of overdose deaths. These numbers are far away from what has happened in the US, but still they are high comparatively. But then if you only conduct an autopsy in 50% of the cases, and that has been the case in Germany, then how do you actually know what people took? The opioid quick scan would not differentiate or would not tell you this was heroin or this was oxycodone or this was nitazine. So we don't actually know how it's going.
In September 2024, the director of the European Agency for Drugs issued a call to action. He explicitly warned against the very real risk of remaining complacent during this buffer period. Without a visible crisis like the one in the US, governments aren't forced to prepare. This false sense of security is only made worse by the novelty of nitazines, substances that most experts don't know they should test for or how to effectively treat.
Did you know that a heroin user's best high is their first?
Did you know,
including you,
how they said it was in vape liquid and you said it's fine? I think if you wait a bit more, the video might tell you something that will change your mind.
Nah, that's fine.
You can just continue. Just continue.
Okay.
Just continue.
have probably never
It's gonna
heard
blow your
before this
brains.
video.
Okay.
Drugs
Excuse me.
seemingly came out of nowhere. Or did they?
Here we go.
This is the Pharmaceutical Research Laboratory of chemical company Ciba in Basel, Switzerland. Here, chemists are experimenting with a largely unexplored compound, benzimidazole. It was first synthesized in 1872, but it's
Wait, okay. What if we mixed every drug together? What would happen? What would it be called?
No.
What do you mean, no? What'd I click? What happened? What's going on? I'm scared. What's happening? Help. What'd I do? What's happening? Help. What's happening? Okay, we're good.
Therapeutic potential wasn't recognized until the 1950s. Intrigued by the compound, the Ciba team conducts some novel experiments. They focus on creating benzimidazole derivatives as opioid painkillers. They take a benzimidazole ring as a scaffold and bind an ethylamine at its first position and a benzyl group at its second position. This way, they produce 2-benzyl benzimidazole. With only minor structural modifications to this scaffold, the chemists can produce a wide variety of analog substances. That means they each have a unique chemical structure, but potentially similar effects. The team has successfully synthesized a new class of opioids, broadly labeling them nitazines. But they quickly realize there's a problem. The chemists conduct a toxicity test. They test how many milligrams of morphine per kilo of body weight is needed to kill half a test population of mice. It's 200 milligrams. Then they conduct the same test using the nitazene
Here we go,
compound.
Cameron.
A 1 milligram dose does
That's
Continue.
that's
No,
interesting.
just continue.
What's happening?
The drug they've
Okay.
created is 200 times more potent than morphine and 5 to 10 times more potent than fentanyl.
What?
Some analogs are
They
over 40
continue.
times more potent.
Pay attention to this
The
part. I
team
think.
agrees that this extreme potency makes it especially difficult to dose. This leads to what the medical field calls a narrow therapeutic window. One small miscalculation and the patient can become addicted or die.
Uh-huh.
Its unique chemical structure further complicates medical use as it behaves differently than other opioids. When certain analogs like isotinidazine degrade in the body, they release an active metabolic compound in the brain that's even more potent than the parent drug, meaning the drug's effects last an unusually long time and intensify before fading. But that's not all. The molecule unbinds very slowly from the opioid receptors in the brain. In turn, nitazines have a reduced sensitivity to life-saving drugs like naloxone. Naloxone is a compound typically
One
used to
second.
reverse the
Pause the
effects of
video.
an opioid overdose.
Actually, you continue for now.
It does this by displacing the opioid molecule at the brain's receptors, and it's effective for morphine, heroin, and even fentanyl. But nitazines make this process mechanically difficult, and multiple doses are often required to stop someone from slipping back into overdose. Simply put, it's stronger, harder to treat, and it lasts much longer than other opioids. The scientists shelved the project. Nitazines are never approved for medical use. The findings are published in medical journals, which fade into scientific obscurity. History became legend. Legend became myth. And for 7 decades, nitazines passed out of all knowledge. Until 2019.
What happened? That's it.
The opioid epidemic in the US has been fueled by an influx of precursor chemicals coming from China. They're
So
usually
even
transported-
drugs come from China? You're telling me that I was made in China, my phone was made in China, my legs were made in China, my carpet was made in China, and even my drugs were? I mean, that's insane at that point. Like, what are we doing?
Mexico, where they're turned into fentanyl and smuggled over the border. Trump has blamed the Chinese government for the crisis and partially used it to justify higher and higher tariffs.
They are doing that, yes. But they are paying right now a 20% tariff because of fentanyl, based on the fact that they're sending fentanyl to Mexico and Canada.
The CPC claims fentanyl is an America problem.
我们多次表明，
But for the most part of
芬
it,
太尼是美国的问题，不是中国的问题。
Some fentanyl analogs were banned in 2015, and a more complete ban followed in 2019. That year, China added fentanyl, its analogs, and a variety of precursor chemicals to their list of controlled substances as an act of good faith. On paper, this was a good move, but in practice it meant that the companies making fentanyl were pushed into a perpetual cat-and-mouse game with the government. If they couldn't sell fentanyl anymore, they simply had to look for new, unregulated synthetic drugs. This is a clandestine drug lab in Zhengzhou, China. These chemists are poking around in old medical journals trying to find new opioids they can synthesize. Eventually, they stumble on papers about nitazines, which tick all the boxes. It's a largely unheard of compound, it's easy to synthesize, and it's extremely potent. And more importantly, it's not yet banned by the government. They've struck synthetic gold. Within a few months, small packages of nitazene analogs start hitting countries all around the world. So just how easy is it to buy one of the most dangerous drugs on Earth? We wanted to find out.
This is what you want to see.
Warning,
Ready? Just
do
listen.
not try this at home. Step 1. Do 15 minutes of research to find an article that mentions online B2B marketplaces with potential listings from Chinese vendors selling nitazines. Step 2. Go to the B2B platform and search for nitazines. See that the listings with the keyword have been removed. Step 3. Search for knowing its common analog found on the street. Immediately find listings for multiple vendors. Step 4. Download Telegram and contact the number listed on the photo of a bag of nondescript drugs. Step 5. Within 12 hours, get an answer. How much you want to buy? Smiley face. Clarify that you want to order a test sample and have it shipped to Europe. Step 6. Find out that it will cost $160, including shipping with either UPS, FedEx, or DHL. Step 7. Send them an address and pay with their link. Congratulations. You've now bought one of the most powerful
So
opioids
easy.
in the world. And if by any chance your package is intercepted, there's a reshipment guarantee. 5 stars
Pause
on the
real quick.
flag, 5 stars.
What?
I want you to. Well, how do you feel about that? He literally just ordered it off of an Amazon Chinese website.
Okay.
It's in the mail.
That's.
Pay attention to this next part, by the way. Like for the next minute. Okay.
Does it
Taking all the.
concern me, like, for any reason?
It's very concerning. Just unpause it. Go ahead.
Okay.
For the customer service. We didn't do that last step, by the way, so the stuff never arrived. But we were casually offered kilos of ice.
Yo, why does it look like rocks?
Enough to harm a lot of
Pay
people.
attention.
Europe seizes maybe 10 to 20 kilos a year, while at the same time we seize 400 tons of cocaine a year. That's a big difference. But still, with 10 kilos of nitazines, you could kill the whole city of Berlin.
What?
The kilo we could have bought easy peasy could theoretically kill well over 100,000 people.
See?
By 2025, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime was tracking 26 distinct nitazene analogs in 30 countries around the world. And just like fentanyl in the US, nitazines are likely here to stay, or they might be replaced by yet another novel substance. It's the game of cat and mouse.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that? You know, they offered you just a couple kilos, you know, just like, oh, you want some kilos of it? And that can just kill the whole city of Berlin, you know? That's the part I'm going to do.
I imagine, I feel like you could put like such a small amount in like a bakery's cookies that you wouldn't even notice it, and then you're just dead. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy.
Continues. Substances are declared illegal, so labs look for new, unregulated alternatives. For organized crime groups, the upside of selling potent synthetics is simply too high. Trafficking 1 kilogram can be equivalent to trafficking 50 kilograms of heroin. Shipments automatically become smaller, which makes them easier to hide in the mail. And it's more than just logistics. Once criminal organizations invest in synthetic opioid infrastructure and expertise, economic logic suggests they won't go back to the less efficient, higher risk, and lower margin heroin trade. On top of that, synthetic opioid production isn't affected by agricultural vulnerabilities. No weather patterns, no growing seasons, no political instability in source countries. Production can happen year-round in clandestine laboratories, and you can set those up just about anywhere using precursor chemicals sourced from the global chemical industry. Even if the Taliban lifted their ban and Afghan opium production rebounded, the superior profitability of synthetics would likely win out. So, is Europe prepared? Let's start with law enforcement. Currently, their focus is elsewhere.
Cocaine was basically conquering all over Europe. So everyone was very afraid about cocaine. If you want to put it like briefly, you would say European law enforcement authorities were looking west, right? So where the cocaine's coming from, but not looking east, where opioids are coming from and heroin.
Without bodies piling up because of synthetic opioids, there's little incentive for law enforcement to allocate significant resources to stop them.
And when you compare, for example, seizures, right? Seizures are always a good expression of not what's actually happening, but a good expression of law enforcement priorities. Last year in Germany, we have, I think, 24 tons of cocaine being seized, but 140 kilos of heroin. That is a very small number if you consider the size of the German heroin market, but it's simply because no one was looking for it. So when they would look for it,
Like, the production quality is so good, this could be like the Discovery Channel. Like...
Even if it was a priority, it's unclear how much of the synthetic opioid supply law enforcement could realistically curb. Picture an hourglass. At each stage, the width of the hourglass represents how many people are involved. At the top, hundreds of thousands of farming households grow coca plants, mostly in Colombia, Peru, and Bolivia. Then the funnel narrows. Far fewer people refine coca leaves into cocaine. Fewer still are the smugglers and top-level importers who move it into consumer countries. This is the bottleneck. At the bottom, the hourglass widens back out. The number of wholesale dealers increases, and they branch out to countless street-level sellers. Each hand it passes through increases the drug's price, until finally it reaches the consumer. But synthetic opioids like nitazines are reaching users in much more direct ways.
It's important to understand that this is not the traditional organized crime you may have in mind, running this market with synthetic opioids. This is not like Drangheta or Mexican cartels or Colombian cartels. This is mostly an online phenomenon. So this market only becomes physical the moment the drug reaches the user.
It's shockingly easy to order these substances online, so easy that it flattens the supply chain almost entirely. Producers in China mail small packages directly to street-level dealers and even end users.
When basically the whole supply is coming by mailing shipment somewhere from China within millions of parcels coming from China every day to Europe. And you're looking for, what, like 100 grams of fentanyl? Or even a kilo of nitazines? It's impossible.
This also means that doors open to an entirely new kind of end user.
There is a risk, and there's a growing risk, that on these basically completely uncontrolled online markets, these substances find their way into drug user communities and especially non-traditional drug user communities. So it's young people that are very absent from these traditional street markets for heroin that we have had in Europe.
According to Dr. Arne Christian Skolberg from Oslo University Hospital in Norway, there have been multiple cases of young people ordering a pill online to check it out, taking it in their room, and being found dead by their parents.
Damn.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Damn.
That's how deadly it is, bro. Just one pill and you're cooked if you get something bad.
Bro.
Oh, watch. It's not done yet. It's not done yet. We'll talk about this a bit more.
Synthetic opioids like nitazines are sometimes bought and used knowingly, often by experimental users who like to try new highs. But often, nitazines are simply hidden in other substances. Users seek out prescription medications like Oxycontin or Xanax, which they assume were produced by pharmaceutical companies. Dealers take advantage of this trust to create and sell counterfeit pills which don't contain these drugs at all.
Yo, okay. Listen. If you're a drug dealer and you're just like selling weed, you know, that's not that bad, right? You know, you still shouldn't do it, but that's not that bad, right? But if you're a motherfucker that's lacing shit to make more money off people and killing people, killing your own customers, you need to fucking die. Like,
They'll talk about it. They'll talk about it.
Like, genuinely.
Hold on, real quick.
But why?
What?
What's a medicine a lot of kids take? Probably.
Like what age?
We'll say 15 and up.
Like ibuprofen if you have a headache?
No, maybe, like, I think it's like anti-anxiety pills or whatever. Just watch it.
Okay, alright.
But
Say
they do
it's
that.
Why would you even contaminate, or why would you even lace another product with something so potent that there's risk of actually killing your customers, especially
Exactly what I just said.
tolerance for opioids? And the question is not so easy to answer, and it's a lot of guessing, but we assume that basically with a very little amount of a synthetic opioid like nitazines, you can convert an incredible high amount of useless, cheap material into a highly potent drug.
In short, it's cheap. Press a bunch of junk with a teeny tiny amount of some nitazine analog, and ta-da! You have pills that get people crazy high. If one of these pills contains just a few salt-sized grains too much, it's instant death. But hey, drug busts and arrests often do little to curb supply or improve the health of user communities. That's where prevention, treatment, and education come into play. On the streets, heroin users are being effectively warned about contaminated drug supplies thanks to the work of harm reduction services.
Every time there is a batch of heroin that is contaminated, there's warnings, there's information. Basically, traditional heroin user community is a street-level community, and it's accessible for street workers for information, for awareness raising, so that works quite well.
But these services aren't available everywhere, and they're rarely able to help users who buy their drugs online from the privacy of their bedrooms. Across Europe, drug consumption rooms, needle clinics, and substitute programs are somewhat accessible, but still limited. They're known to help.
Look at Reed Logs. He's alive. And he dug in you too.
Trebs, I can't be mad at him.
Traditional drug users, but they won't be as effective for a teenager who buys an anti-anxiety pill online, accidentally encounters nitazines, and immediately overdoses.
Yep, there you go.
Another challenge is to fight the current
Something
blind
as simple
spot
as
in
that.
detection. Toxicology tests used across Europe were designed to detect traditional opioids like heroin, but nitazines are structurally distinct, meaning standard screenings simply don't register them. Conventional fentanyl test strips are equally useless. Post-mortem examinations also routinely missed nitazines. This leads health officials to underestimate their presence until a series of suspicious deaths forces a closer look. Beyond detection, Europe needs modern alarm systems. Wedanos in Wales and The Loop in England test drugs that are sent in anonymously and provide alerts about contaminated batches. These services are accessible to the public, but even today, relatively few people use them. Some countries have
Wait, are
started
you
to
just
deploy-
allowed to buy drugs to test them, to warn people? I don't know how that works. How do you do that?
wastewater analysis as an early warning system. They use it to detect nitazene metabolites in communities, hopefully before overdoses occur. But these services
Bro, what I'm afraid of is just waking up one morning to get a cup of water and just dying because somebody contaminated all the water, bro. Like, genuinely, do they even guard, like, the main water supply? Like, is there guards there? There has to be, right? On every, like,
No, I
city?
don't think so.
Like, what's stopping somebody from just going and contaminating the whole main water supply with this shit? And killing the whole city, millions of cities. Like, what are we doing?
remain rare and isolated to a handful of nations. Another challenge is getting first response drugs like naloxone into the hands of the public. It's less effective against nitazines than it is fentanyl, but it's still crucial to saving lives. Over-the-counter naloxone is available in only 5 countries: Denmark, France, Italy, Sweden, and most recently, Germany. In all others, it's only available with a doctor's prescription, so far fewer people have access. At the end of the day, there's a lot more to be done. Most emergency services haven't adopted nitazene-specific treatment protocols. Law enforcement still lacks the intelligence infrastructure to intercept small packages in the mail. And, perhaps most critically, awareness campaigns have largely failed to reach non-opioid users. Not enough young Europeans know about this trend. They simply don't know that a pill or powder they order somewhere online could be laced with a ridiculously deadly lab-made substance. There is a silver lining. Experts like Daniel and his colleagues are on a mission.
What we do as an organization, we make organized crime visible. We research it, we report about it in order to bring it to the attention of the broader public, to governments, to authorities, in order to bring it on the agenda, in order to trigger reactions, in making basically the life more complicated for organized crime, because in a setting where they're invisible, they're living their best life, and we want to change it.
One thing we can all do is help to raise awareness. If you know someone who might be at risk, make sure they know about the dangers of nitazines.
You, Cameron.
Tell them to get their drugs
Jeez,
tested.
bro. That's a boring but GG video.
Go on their channel, find something we might like.